Hey, I just wanted to do another test of my open broadcast studio. I've rescaled the screen from WXGA to HDTV so their bottom won't be cut off today. Also, I've given the microphone a 3 decibel boost, and I've cut the background sound by 9 decibels, so the sound should be considerably improved. Today we're gonna see how quickly, the challenge we're gonna do today is do a rescue kerbal contract in as little time as possible. And what the craft we're gonna use is, well, I name everything based on what they do. It's like, so a recovery craft is recovery craft, just so I can find it in my inventory. On the craft we have here, since it's just optimized for cost, it is therefore a crappy recovery craft. And let's see. And this thing has flown more than 100 times. It's I've recently upgraded it with the DLC thrust plate. It's basically a 2-stage design with a re-entry heat shield. I do not know what craft we're gonna find up there when we reach target. This claw is a 2014 vintage mod. It's just very convenient for this application. I don't know how those are supposedly hold monopropellant, but anyway, that's our craft. Down here we have the stock, the older stock thrust plate and space-wide engines, which is just about enough to get us up there. And so that's what we're going to be flying yet again. MechJeb has recently been patched to support the thrust plate. Actually, if you had 2 engines in the thrust plate, that was a problem, but we only have this one little Nova Punch part, and that's what I've been using been using it without a thrust plate, just like straight to the bladder. The fuel tank, which is wrong, because it's just a bladder, it doesn't have any structural strength, so that's not a good correct design. But anyway, that's been fixed. I guess we're still using this mechanical decoupler up here. I forget what the reasoning I had for putting that in there, but anyway, enough of the craft. Now, the 2 secrets of doing one of these on 1-star orbital recoveries, there are 2 issues. One, the launch to altitude, which you have to figure out where it's going to be when you approach it. Usually it'll have an apoapsis of around maybe 92 and a periapsis maybe 83 or something like that. And so you got to figure out where it's going to be, put that exact number in. And then the second, a little bit more tricky part, is by experience you get a feeling for where you end up after each launch, and the more experience you get, you can nail exactly when to launch it to the point where you're at a risk of a collision on the ascent, which is not what we're doing. It got of course, it's an older career save, and it got a lot of stuff up there. That's actually a previous pod which I remodeled into a full space station. I mean, I just sent up parts and I kiss welded them onto there. Alright, so we're going to set that as target. The Kerbin's going to turn a little bit away from that apoapsis, so we're looking between 85 and 87. So we're going to call that 86.5. And alright, that's going to be where we're going to. Sure that's correct. Now, the timing, put it like you'd see this on this. Let's see, what's it called, an isthmus or something, or a 4. Yeah, I think it's the technical term is an isthmus. It's where 2 land bodies almost meet, and you got ocean on both sides. It's like the a little bit similar to the Bosphorus in the Black Sea, it runs through Constantinople or Istanbul, and so what we have to do is we're gonna have to put in a slight time warp here and get it to right in line there as exact as possible. And just a little more. Alright, it's good. Gauge autopilot off. Set our target. Set our road targets. We want to track the relative velocity of the rocket to the target, even though we're still just launching. We're basically already in intercept mode, even though we're just coming off the pad. Anything that's halfway sane I can bring down. Yeah, I'm gonna take off autopilot right now and see what our intercept looks like. Now the next stage of the intercept, as you see, we're pretty close. The magic point to look for is right about there. That's where we want to bring our target. Well, we're going to need about 700 meters a second, and we're going to do it right about there, right before to align the intercept. So, again, there's so much junk on this, so it really bogs down sometimes. Whoops, flew past us. Even though that was not the immaculate intercept that I had wanted, but looks like I had two issues. I was a little bit late coming off the pad, and I should have started the velocity matching at a much lower altitude. But anyway, it's still fairly golden, approaching. Get a little bit better alignment on the target, or maybe about less than 1/10 of a degree off the off plane, and the target is. Alright, I'm going to switch over to MechJeb here. I'm going to match velocities at closest create and execute. make sure it's done right this time. Yeah, just gotta wait it out at the moment. You know, shoot, I was still in atmospheric mode. Yeah, I got MacJeb. The autopilot had left me in atmospheric time warp, and even though I was in vacuum, I just had forgotten to take that off, and so I was... Anyway. Got a glitch with the engine animation. The engines still work, it's just it's not compatible with 1.4. This is 1.4.2 last I checked. Once we go through this, the game is at risk of glitching. There are a couple of glitches which are affecting this save right now, and it's really frustrating me that I can't play this as much as I'd like. But we'll see how we do on the should be along that vector there. There's a setting that keeps unsetting itself, which will highlight the remote distant targets, or give it like an antenna beacon. So I don't know why it keeps unsetting itself. It's kind of important for doing these. I'm an evil bastard, what I'm gonna do is be utterly ludicrously lazy. I'm going to use the docking autopilot, even though got no docking ports in sight. I'm gonna control from my little micro claw and some kind of cupola module. It's like a, I think it's not the stock cupola, it's one of the set. Yeah, it's from that station station extension continued mod. It's The guy's written like half the mods for the game. He's just gone completely crazy. Very, very high quality part here, but we don't quite care about it. So I'm gonna just engage the autopilot and see what happens. Alright, looks like Mech Jeb wants to grab this thing from the front, which is okay with us. Either front or back, we don't care. What we do care about is that we want to be aligned with whatever that thing's center of mass is, and that's why we're using the docking autopilot, because it does lock on. It is perfectly on axis, aligned with the center of mass, which is not super critical, but it will help us. It'll make the landing much more reliable. The only annoying thing about these docking missions, you gotta remember to go back to controlling your probe. Otherwise, you're basically flying the wrong direction otherwise. So now it's just a return mission, which is... Shoot, I overburned there. I usually like to bring it down to about 38, about 35 to 38. It means a very small payload, so we could probably survive and as low as 30, but just to be safe here. Still have about 1,500 meters per second in that tank, so we're gonna just I like to burn it right when I start hitting atmosphere. Technically, we're in a very starting to see the faint traces of atmosphere, but I like to wait until the visuals start coming on. Usually that happens around 58, you know, just as you cross into the 50s and 50,000 meters, and so just a little bit more. The other, on some craft that are coming in, that have trouble in the lower atmosphere, sometimes I will, like if it has two tanks, I'll burn the upper tank here, ditch that, and then I'll burn the lower tank right at the critical interface. I mean, that's usually between 20 and 30 kilometers, but today we're just doing a very gentle, just let's get rid of all our fuel burn. Alright, you might have saw for an instant there that it was starting to glow, so therefore it was time to punch the brakes. So on this flight, we don't even need to ditch that. We're going to bring it all the way down with us, and we're going to shift our parachutes to the next stage, and we're going to do it that way. We don't actually care about that. We'll just go to time warp and bring us down to about 20 and a flat, and there shouldn't be any issues doing the velocities. For this, that's nothing. Actually, I haven't flown this thrust plate ever, so maybe it's third flight with this configuration, so I haven't really tried this approach before. But yeah, I mean, it's on very, very lightweight module there, so yeah, here's where we get the main greatest. Alright, make sure our time warp's disabled. Now we have to wait until this gets back down into the green before we... It is safe to release our parachutes, but we're getting so much force from the from just what we have here. We don't need it yet. So, okay, we've hit our terminal velocity. Time to release the chutes. Chutes go out, and that's going to be that. Now we're going to, because we're carrying about 1.8 tons of fuel, which is like that's almost what WTF levels are. Make sure that burn a little bit of that and use that as our final descent. Looks like we're coming down over the mountains, so that's not ideal. Actually, that might be a mission fail right there. Now, let's see, let's just try to get parallel to the slope, and then burn our... Use the engine. And dump that just a little. Yeah, that's a... famous load times my thing. It's hot here. Oh well, let's see if we can find something cool up here. Alright, the time is year 30. So we're 30 years into the space age of kerbal. We got this is the mission roster. Yeah. Should be a recover for that. Let's just clean that up. Got that going to Gilly in let's see, when's the departure? 62 days. And I have this going to Elu. And that's gonna be a pretty hard capture burn, maybe about 3.5, 4 kilometers a second for this, basically an ore survey too. And that's, yeah, that's space travel for you. Well, basically what I did is I sent it up to Jewel. When Jewel was right about there, I matched plane, used used a flyby to match planes with ELU. That, so basically I used practically no fuel for that, and then I recently did a intercept burn right there, and then I have a second intercept there, so it's only like 1.1 meters a second for that burn. The two relays are we got the Moho relay down here, the massive solar-powered relay. Alright, I confess, I cheated to put that up there. And well, if I wanted to put it up legit, what I'd have to do is I'd have to build a base on the moon or Gilly or something. And then I would have to construct it at that base, or maybe an asteroid base or something, and then use like some kind of orbital construction to put it together, and then send it to where I needed it. And I was like, nah, I couldn't be bothered, so I just cheated it into place. These are the only two craft I cheated, was the Moho relay and the Joule relay, and you'll see why in a second, well, in about 30 seconds, why I felt like doing that, because these are not your typical craft. Yeah, this is the Moho relay. It's got this. This is like from Kerbal and Interstellar Extended. It's got this. It's just no conceivable way to launch that on anything. It's you just can't. And I mean, you'd have to launch it, as I said, from something like Moon, Minus Gilly, something like that, and got a little ion plasma thruster from I think that's near future propulsion for that one, and then it runs on argon gas, which with the near future construction for the truss segments. Checked on the Joule relay for a while. It uses a nuclear reactor. Haven't checked on the fuel on that. Not sure how long that core is going to last on the regular loads. I know it's has like a 5-year limit, but I don't know what load that is, whether that's full load or just since startup. Let's look at the Joule mission. This ship has like a 23-year mission elapsed time. It's a monster. The game is probably going to crash when I get to this ship. It's got a number of glitches, like on Station Science mod did have a release was posted, but something's going wrong and it's glitching the hell out, and it's basically shut down the entire ship. And I'm like, seriously, and I'm like, kind of depressing. Yeah, this front part here is a 2.5 meter stack. It's got like the KSP Interstellar Extended science lab here, so it's got a huge amount of science. So let's get that science down to Kerbin. At the other end of the station, there's another science lab, and it's That one's clogged, so I should transmit that. Now in the middle here we have a 5-meter class fuel tank from Behemoth Aerospace. Configured that for liquid fuel only. It's got, these are also tanks. The cones up here are also tanks. These are old Nova Punch rockets, and a very old thing. I got a couple of other experiments. Got a aquaponics module, not using life support on this, and a greenhouse. And so it's sort of like a, basically using those as ordinary experiments. I have X science and see what my science status is. The mission elapsed time is 28 years, so actually I'd sent this up with it's got a fuel module here. It's got this landing pod. This section here is like a first generation design and it barely works. What it does is it deploys this landing pod to get the ore, brings the ore up, puts it in that tank, and then it processes it with the ISRU. Got a huge crew aboard, probably about 15 kerbals. Got all the stars on board. I think Val is way back here in that module, and Jeb is way up in the front module here. That's Jeb. Got Bill. Got, let's see. Yeah, it's Bill Kerman on that one, and then Bob Kerman here. What did I just do? All right. This is a that's just a supply pod. It has the supplies to do the station science. You can see up in the corner here. That's the exception log for the So yeah, these experiments are not. I can't like finish the experiments because it has no. Well, the mod calls them quarks, Quarks, and they're supposed to be produced by these generators here, which I used a mod called Orbital Construction, which put these special ports on there. So when I brought them together, it hard welded it to the station. So when I fire up the thrust ring and get all of like 0.25 TWR, I can, they're reasonably secure. But right now the experiments are broken and the ship is kind of like, well, if I can't do the science on this thing, then I'm not in a good position. So I mean, it's, as you can see, the frame rate is, yeah, this thing is killing. I mean, like back in the beta days when the game was in beta, this would absolutely annihilate the frame rate. It would be a slideshow, but it does have limited multi-threading, and this is a Ryzen processor, so it is somewhat playable. But anyway, let's see what else is on this save. I don't know whether the game might be broken at this point. It doesn't like it when I visit those larger stations, and especially this station, the one that I'm about to switch to. Yeah, you see this null reference exception. Basically, it has this on the crew roster thing, and when that bugs out, Let me see if I can switch to desktop. Alright, well let's just look at buried because of it. You got two layers of errors here because it's got the errors with the this error comes from the station science. I know that error, but the other error I think starts down here. Like I won't be able to show you the error, but it's like it has this kerbal roster.validate assignments thing, which means that the only thing to do is to kill the game. So therefore I'm going to stop recording. I mean, I really wish I could play this game more, but it's just, if it's not going to work, then I guess I have to restart my career save, which, as you can see, would be very, very annoying. So that's that.